Hi, I'm Anthony, and this is Bob Barker. Today we're going to be brightening up this garage by adding a ton of lights. So let's get started. And there's Bob Barker ready to get started. He's always very helpful whenever I get a new package. And this is a project that really was long overdue. I only had 2 overhead lights for the garage, and one of them would go out half the time. So whenever there wasn't enough sunlight, it'd always get really dark and I was strained to see things. But finally I decided enough was enough. Went online and I found these ones. And Bob Barker is doing some quality control inspection there. And these are LED lights that are going to replace my old fluorescent lights. And one of the nice things about them is they can all plug into each other. And you can run multiple off of one plug, so you don't have to really worry about doing a lot of electrical work if you already have some plugs available. So we got them all laid out, but before we can get them up, there's one other task that we do need to take care of. And this is something that has been a long time coming. And like I said before, there was always one light in particular that would just give me hassles all the time. It would turn off all the time, leave me in the dark, and only come on when it wanted to. And kind of like, an office printer that's always giving you grief, we all know there's really only one way to take care of that. So let's do it. And with that done, now we can get back into the garage and start on the project. So after I decided on the layout, it was time to get the hooks put into place. So for this one, I'm actually going to use one of the hooks on my existing lights, and I'm just going to measure the length from that hook to the next hook, mark my spot, and then I can drill them out. And when you're drilling over your head, it is better to wear eye protection, which I wasn't at this time, but it's not the smartest thing to do. So once you have the holes drilled out, you just basically screw in those hooks. You want to make sure that the hole is big enough so you don't over tighten it and maybe break them off because it's too tight for the little metal hooks there. And of course, if it hurts your hands to turn those little metal hooks too much, you can always just grab another tool just to help the process some. So when you got those hooks both where you want them, you basically just want to put up the little chains on each one of those. And using these chains as well as the little hooks that I'm going to be putting on right here, you can set how low you want the lights to hang from whatever you happen to be hanging them from. And then it's on to hanging the lights. All you really have to do is just put those hooks that you already have on the ends of those chains into the corresponding slots on the top of the unit itself on both sides. And then after that, you're able just to make any adjustments you want so it can hang properly or for the correct height that you're looking for. Then just go ahead and plug it in and your light's ready to go. And these LED lights really are pretty darn bright. So I went down, took a look at it. I kind of didn't like it hanging down that low and a little bit more clearance, so I went ahead and lifted it up, just put it closer to that wood beam there so it wouldn't be in the way of anything that I'd be carrying or things like that. And that's all that there really is to it. It's that easy to add new lights to your garage. But one thing is you want to make sure you take plenty of play breaks. Bob Barker is always there to remind me that it is time for a break and it's time to play. And somehow, despite not being that big, he seems to always win. So after the break, I got back to work because after all, I did have 6 different lights to install. So this kind of just shows a little bit up close of getting those hooks in place. And you can see those little S clips are the ones that go into the top of the unit. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is cord management. You want to see where your cords are going to go so they're not hanging down where they're going to catch on anything, and also which direction that the plug on the unit itself is facing. That way you can still plug them in tandem and not get them all the way up and realize, oh, the plug's on the wrong side, so you have to take it down and turn it around, which I kind of did do once. And besides the cords and what you might hit the lights with, you also have to consider what might be below it. For example, here I have the garage door opener and the track directly below where I want the light to be. So for this one, I had to make sure that it was high enough so it would clear the track, and for the slider bringing the garage door up, that wouldn't hit it when it does open. I ended up having to screw the chain directly into the piece of wood above, because with the hook it just hung down too low and it was going to end up hitting the garage door track. So after a little bit of finagling, I got that right in place and was ready to go ahead and test it out, just to make sure that I had the clearance that I expected, and luckily I did, as you can see right here. So with that and hiding the cords, the project was pretty much done. And now I have light. So now that I added all these lights, I'm not sure why I waited so long. It really brightens up this place and makes it really nicer to work in. As you can see, it was fast and it was easy. So don't delay. If you need extra lights, just get it done. You're not going to regret it. So that's going to be it for today, guys. We'll see you next time.